Hey, this is Brian again, and I'd like to ask you to do a favor. We can't do this work without people like you, so if you can, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about Bring Back the Porch.
There's actually two definitions if you look in the dictionary. One of them is to collect information. So what are people going to glean from this talk that we're having now? And the other one is to pick up what's left after the harvest. And that's what we essentially do. We gather surplus and off-grade vegetables from growers and suppliers in the area.
This episode of Bring Back the Porch brought to you by Bernie Leahy, River Street Realty. Let's get you home. One of the things that we like to do here on Bring Back the Porch is share the good news that is happening in Medicine Hat. Put things in the spotlight that maybe sometimes don't get noticed. Today we have Ed Codding from the Prairie Gleaners with us. Welcome, Ed.
Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about the Gleaners and the good stuff we do.
The Gleaners are tucked away in a little corner just south of Desert Bloom, I think it is, just in Cypress County.
Yes, it's down Range Road 63, about 4.5 kilometers south of Highway 3. It's the old Cypress meatpacking plant. If people recognize that and know where it is, that's where we are.
2009, I think it began.
We actually went into operation in 2009. We were registered as a nonprofit charity in 2006.
Okay.
But it took time. That enabled us to accept donations and give receipts for donations. But it took time to put equipment together and get a space and all of that infrastructure before we started. But we actually started in 2009.
And some may be wondering about the term gleaners.
Gleaning. There's actually two definitions if you look in the dictionary. One of them is to collect information. So what are people going to glean from this talk that we're having now? And the other one is to pick up what's left after the harvest. And that's what we essentially do. We gather surplus and off-grade vegetables from growers and suppliers in the area.
And it ends up in a bag.
Like that.
Something like that. And you were telling me that would make about 110 cups of soup.
That's right. Yeah, vegetable soup.
Yeah. How does it get to here?
Well, when we gather the vegetables, the first thing that we do is we clean them up. So potatoes might have a little nick in the side or things might just need some trimming up, so we do that. And then all of the vegetables go through a dicing machine. And you can see here, that's a little potato piece.
Okay.
You put a potato in the dicer and it comes out in about a 1/4-inch cube.
Okay.
We load all the vegetables onto trays and put them in our dehydrators. So these are the dehydrated vegetables, and they're all moisture content less than about 8%, which is what the definition of dehydrated is. So this is then a mixture of the vegetables that we have processed over, a few weeks. And we mix them up and put them in bags, and you can see that we have added lentils to the mix, and the black things are beans, and there are peas in there too. Those are peas, and that's to get some protein into the mix. So about 40% of what's in the bag are beans, peas, and lentils, and about 60% are dehydrated vegetables.
And this is all produce from southern Alberta, southeastern Alberta?
Yes, it is.
Well, that's
right.
That's nice. How much time would it take to make a bag like that?
A day. On a normal day operating, we process about 1,200 kilograms of raw vegetables, incoming vegetables. And that will make, probably when it's all done, it would make about, 200 or 300 of these bags in a day.
In a day.
In a day.
Do you have a problem when the winter comes and the harvest is over and you get kind of in between?
We have never run out of product. Never.
Really?
There are very generous potato growers in the area that will provide us with potatoes up until just a couple of months over the summer when they're between cleaning out their bins and the new harvest. Greenhouses, Red Hat Co-op, so we get product all the time. The mixture varies. In the wintertime, we're not getting things like peppers and tomatoes very much. And in the summertime, we tend not to get potatoes because they're not growing potatoes and carrots because it's not growing yet. But we've never run out.
Who comes up with the recipe? Is there a book? Hey, I need this much here and this much here.
No. Well, the beans, peas, and lentils, they're standard.
Yeah.
But the rest of the vegetables, as we process them, since they change through the year, we take what we're making, we store it in 40-gallon barrels sealed in plastic, and we note what's in the barrel. So then when we start to do this, we can take a barrel that's mostly potatoes and a barrel that's got a lot of carrots and tomatoes in it, and so we get a mixture, and then we have scoops, 2-cup scoops that we take a scoop and we put it together and dump it in a bag like that and put a seal on it.
And this all then gets shipped. How many different countries have you shipped product to?
Something like 52 or 53 different countries over the years. The last few years, that's been mainly the Ukraine, and into Africa. This year, just a few weeks ago, we had a shipment that is ending up going to Cuba.
Okay.
That was with World Serve Ministries there in Surrey, and another shipment that will be going to the Ukraine with Faith Mission. They are located in Winkler, Manitoba.
So you partner with various church groups that spearhead this, or are you all independent?
We're a Christian-based organization, but we're not associated with any particular church or denomination. Mm-hmm. We just try to operate on Christian principles, recognizing that it is the Lord that is providing this for us and is giving us an opportunity to help Him help people in the world who need help.
So how do you ship this? Somebody calls you and said, we need so many tons of what?
Yes. We are, look at us as a food provider. Mm-hmm. We do not ship. We do not have that expertise, and we don't have the financial resources to do that. So we operate with NGO partners, non-governmental organizations, Food for the Hungry. They're in Saskatoon, Faith Mission in Winkler, Manitoba, Strategic International Disaster Relief, they're in Kelowna, British Columbia, Global Emergency Mission Society, they are in Abbotsford. So they will come to us and say, we have food. We have a need for food. Do you have any? And what we normally do with these is we pack them in boxes and put them on pallets. So on a pallet, there would typically be 560 bags like this. Mm-hmm. And a normal shipment would be 20 of those pallets. That would fit in a 40-foot sea container. And so if they want a 40-foot sea container and we have it, or that we can have it ready in a reasonable period of time, we say sure. And then they are responsible. They are responsible for bringing a truck to our facility. We load the product into the truck, and now it's theirs. And they have the responsibility for organizing all of the shipping, paying for it, getting it into the country wherever it's going, which sometimes is not a trivial thing to be able to do. And then they're responsible for distributing in the country, getting it to where it's supposed to go without losing it. And we've never had an issue yet with a shipment being lost. I mean, maybe that's fortunate, the Lord looking after things, but it's gone into some places where that would be a real concern, whether or not it's going to get where it goes.
The way the world is going these days, shipping is a problem with the ongoing problem in Iran with the Strait of Hormuz being blockaded, boycotted, whatever.
That's right.
In Cuba as well,
That's
ships are they're scarce.
That's right. And in fact, right around the first of the year, we had one of our partners wanted to do a shipment to Cuba. And we were all ready to give them the food, but the ship was trapped in Cuba and couldn't leave, I assume, because they didn't have fuel. So that shipment is still waiting to go.
What's the shelf life on a bag like this?
You can see that on the
there's
top.
A best before date there.
There's a best before date. We say 3 years.
Okay.
Which is typical for dehydrated vegetables. And you notice there's also a lot number printed on there. So what's in here I can trace back to when that produce arrived at the plant.
Okay, so quality control, and if there's a problem with the shipment, you can kind of go back and trace the steps and find it out. Okay.
Yeah.
You've got outside partners, but you've also got a lot of people here in Medicine Hat who just show up.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We average about 31 volunteers a day come to help us. We have, I believe, about 90 actual members of the society, but about 31 people a day come out to help us.
And that is from about, 8:30 in the morning until?
Noon. 8:30 until noon, Tuesday to Saturday. We aren't open on Mondays.
Okay, and you don't open on Saturdays on long weekends either?
No, we don't.
Okay.
We don't. Holidays, we aren't open.
Okay, so somebody who might be watching or listening to this thinking, I've got a couple of hours. How can I help?
Show up.
And no previous experience required.
No, and that's one of the things people like about the way we operate is we do not ask people to sign up for times. If you get up in the morning and if you'd like to come and trim some vegetables, come on out. And just head to Lethbridge at Range Road 63. That's where Big Marble Farms is, right on that corner. Range Road 63, turn left and keep going, and you'll run right into us.
How did you get involved?
Yes. My wife passed away in 2015, and I became a hermit. My next-door neighbor, Ken Martins, was the plant manager for Prairie Gleaners at that time, and he started... why don't you come on out? Why don't you come on out? Little nudges. And I kept saying, nah, I don't want to do that. And finally I said yes, honestly, just to shut him up. I wanted him to stop asking me, so I agreed to come. So I went, and then I went again, and then I went again, and then I caught the vision. And so I've been going pretty regularly for about 9 years, a couple times a week.
Okay, and it is infectious, I guess.
It is infectious. Good people. Lots of fun, a good project to be working on. But, yeah, it's just a good way to spend a few hours.
Do you ever cook this up yourself and have it for lunch when you're out there?
No.
No?
In fact, that's interesting. We're having an open house in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. Well, in fact, next week is Volunteer Appreciation Week.
Okay.
So during that week, we are serving lunch for our volunteers as a vegetable soup, which will be essentially this, but not dehydrated. We'll have all of these things in it, but it won't be the dehydrated variety.
And that'll be the week starting April 20th.
I believe that's correct, yes.
Okay. Ever had any thought about marketing this and selling it to raise money?
Not allowed.
Not allowed.
We have an operating license with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, CFIA, and one of the provisos in our operating license is that this leaves the country.
Okay.
Now, we have been able to ship into the high Arctic a couple of times, but in those instances, we've asked the CFIA for an exemption to allow us to do that, and they have. So no, we don't sell this. It's, in fact, right at the bottom. It says this product is not to be sold. It's to give away to get to people who really need it.
Do you ever hear from the people who benefit from this?
Yes. Yes. One of the things we do with our organizations that take the food is we have them commit to give us feedback. So we'll either get reports from the people who are running the orphanage where it's gone, for example, or pictures or written reports come back to us, so we get some feedback that way.
That must be heartwarming as well.
It is. It is.
When you know you've actually helped someone who you'll never meet.
Never
you
meet
don't
them at
know.
all. Yeah.
But you're doing the Lord's work.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
If people want to donate cash or other things, how do they go about doing that?
You can e-transfer to the Prairie Gleaners. There is an organization called Canada Benefits that we're listed with, and another one called Beneficiary. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Yeah. Or just e-transfer to us. Yeah.
Okay, and you mentioned that you're able to issue a tax receipt for
That's right.
donation over $20?
Any donation that we get, we'll issue a tax receipt for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything I haven't asked you that you'd like to bring up?
It's a wonderful story, this Prairie Gleaners. We're not the only one in Canada. I'll give everybody else a plug. There are 10 operations like us in Canada. There are 3 in British Columbia. There are 2 in Alberta. The other one in Alberta is in Lacrete, which is way north. You know where Lacrete is?
Yep, just north of Bonnyville.
Yep. There's one in Manitoba, and there are 4 in Ontario. And there are actually 2 in Michigan as well. That we're doing the same kind of thing. We're gathering leftover and not pretty vegetables, dicing them up, dehydrating them, and making the same kind of product.
And the food quality is not second grade.
Oh, no.
It's just
No.
maybe doesn't look like something someone would buy in a store.
That's right. When I say off grade, what I mean is a carrot's not straight.
Oh, dear.
It's too big or too small, or it's broken, or a tomato has a wart on the side of it. Not pretty. They're just not going to sell in stores. And excess. Many of the potato farmers, for example, they way over their quota, so they're more than happy to give it away. But it's nutritionally, there's no difference. Product is good. It just doesn't look nice.
And just to mention again, too, that on the week of April 20th, people that are curious can come out.
Actually, on the following Saturday, we're having an open house.
Okay.
And people can come out for that. We'll give them tours and explain what we're doing, and we're having burgers and hot dogs and stuff for lunch so they can stop out and partake of that. Next week is for our volunteers.
Okay.
It's to pay back to them a bit for what they've done.
All right. Ed Codding with Prairie Gleaners, thanks for the visit.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak about this. Thank you.